I can't lie, I feel blessed. I can't lie, I feel blessed. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself, placing God over wealth, placing time over vanity. I'm thankful for my health. I know I played the game a couple ways. I'm trying to find my wave. I know I made mistakes that I can't change, can only change my ways. So all in all, my heart is pure, my thought is sure, my mind is open. Another chapter in the book, ain't got no time to close it. But I ain't rushing through a moment in this journey. Ain't discussing what I know, just what I'm learning. Trying to grow, I hope you heard me and don't hold me to my past thoughts. We pass time with fine wine and lemon lime talk. Raise a glass to the present, and the past was a blessing. We're moving forward to the future, looking bright as heaven. So I'm squinting with this grin, with the sun all on my skin. Having fun, I can't pretend. We should do this one more again. I got my mind made up, I'ma live my life full. Releasing all my failures, that's a pretty nice tool. I feel blessed. I can't lie, 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 I feel blessed. Blessed. Know exactly who I am right in the mirror. Ain't a person on this earth is my superior. Drinking all this water, think my skin can't get no clearer. Can't nobody make me feel inferior. I'm locked in, my foundation's solid. The sins of a nation ain't enough to block my knowledge. I'ma prosper regardless. Showing empathy, I'll never be heartless. And what's meant for me is mine. I'm aiming straight at my target. I got a clear vision, a definition of success and a real mission. Asking God to guide my steps, and I'm still tipping, still whipping down the boulevard. The results of every lie that we done took apart. I'm blessed. I can't lie, I feel 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 blessed. Blessed.
The truth is so plain to see. The truth is so plain to see. The truth is so plain to see. Cause we spittin' the truth and nothing else.
Shalom, Israel. Well, Shalom. How's everybody doing this afternoon? If you can hear me loud and clear, give me a 1 in the comment board, Israel. Give me a 1 on the comment board if you can hear me loud and clear. All right. Khan. All praises to the Most High. All right. Well, today we're going to cover the Enoch calendar, the drift of the luminaries, right? I'm going to show you why we have the drift of the luminaries, right? And on top of that, I'm going to talk about the sons of darkness and how this is already a doctrine from the past. All right. All right. First, we're going to talk about the sons of Zadok, right? Because the sons of Zadok, what they initially did, Lord have mercy, where in the world am I? Right, with the sons of Zadok, right? What they initially did is they preserved the law, statutes, and commandments, and what we know today as the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? Is what we know today as the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls, it was discovered in the Qumran caves, right? And it contained fragments of every book of what we know today as the Hebrew Bible, right? Except for the book of Esther. All right. Now, we got everything from Psalms, Deuteronomy, Isaiah, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, all the books of the minor prophets, Daniel, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Job, and also, right, what you'll find very interesting, and which I don't understand why a lot of the camps and the other groups, they don't follow the hidden books, but in those caves were also found parts of the book of Enoch, parts of the book of Jubilees, Jasher, right? Those apocryphal books that people don't like really going into. All right. So so as you see on the screen, right, we're gonna talk about why we can't find the true date as of today, right? What's going on with the calendar, right? Because you see that everybody has a particular Hebrew calendar, especially if you go off the 364 day, right, you end up getting a gap, right? You ended up getting a drift, right? A 1.24 day drift that happens, right? So because the Enoch calendar, right, is shorter than the solar year, because we have the solar year that moves in what? We have it 365 days, right? Now, back in the beginning, you know what? Back in the beginning, Slovakia, right? Let's go to the scriptures real quick before we, because I want to show you that back in the beginning, at first, it was mandatory that we went by 364 days, right? And then, oh yeah, right. So, and before then, let's go to Ezekiel 48 real quick, right? I want to talk about the where I'm getting, while I'm using the sons of Zadok, while I'm using their calendar from the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I'm continuing on forward to today, right? It's because here in Ezekiel 48, you'll see that the Most High says, well, the scriptures say that it shall be for the priests that are sanctified of the sons of Zadok, which have kept my charge, went not astray when the children of Israel went astray, as the Levites went astray, because they were practicing following the moon at this particular time, right? And all oblation of the land is offered shall be unto them a thing most holy by the border of Levites, right? And the reason why I wanted to bring that out is because I want you to understand that the sons of Zadok, they didn't mess up when they was recording the law, statutes, and commandments, and they were keeping all the priestly rites and the days and write down the calendars, you know, for the Hebrews, right? Let's go to Enoch 81. Right, because first I want to establish that it was in the beginning. We know that we had 364 days, right? The count was 364 days for us to reach an equinox. Now, for us to reach an equinox, it is 365.24 days, which means that what? That the heavens are out of order, right? It's not that the scriptures are wrong, or that, you know, somebody made up something and said that, hey, man, you know, this is not the right thing. No, it's just that the heavens are out of order. And I'm going to show you a couple of instances in the scriptures also that we can go to, that why possibly, right, the heavens, right, the heavenly rotation is out of order. So it says, we're going to read verse, we're going to go down here. We're going to read the starting from verse 4. All right. It says, blessed are all the righteous, blessed who all walk in the path of righteousness, in whom no crime is found, as in sinners, when all their days are numbered. With respect to the progress of the sun in heaven, it enters and goes out each gate for 30 days. With the leaders of the thousands, classes of the stars, with 4 which are added, right? And the leaders of the thousands, this is, right, if you look at the Enoch calendar, it's 30, 30, 31, right? And the classes of the stars is the transition of when they go into their gates. So on the 31st day, this day is an interlinear day, because this is when the gate transitions, but it also is added to the calendar, right? So it says, with respect to the Son of Heaven, it enters and goes out of each gate for 30 days. All right. When the leaders of the 1,000 classes of the stars, with 4 which are added, right, because it has 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31, and 30, 30, 31, which makes up 364 days, right? If you do it without 12 months out of the year. And it says, and appertain to the 4 quarters of the year, right? Which is 30, 30, 31, 4 times, which conduct them and accompany them in 4 periods. Respecting these, men greatly err and do not compute them in the computation of every age, which is 364 days, regardless if the sun, has a rotation of 365 days or whatever, right? Because this was the priests of Zadok. They had kept the 364 day period throughout all the time. They were even arguing with other brothers and sisters, right, calling them the sons of darkness, right, because they were worshiping the moon and doing things of that nature that didn't go along with what the 364 day calendar, right? Respecting these, men greatly err and do not compute them in the computation of every age, right? For they greatly err respecting them, nor do men know accurately that they are in the computation of the year. But indeed, these are marked down forever. 1 in the first gate, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 1 in the sixth, so that the year is completed in 364 days. Right. Also, one other thing I want to point out, if you notice that nowadays, even during the 365 day period, or 365.24 day period that we have before the sun reaches the equinox, the changing of times and times again, that not only did Julius Caesar push the calendar forward 90 days, right? He also changed it where we're looking now. Before, if you see in the scriptures, the beginning of the day was the evening. That's why it was called the evening, which is the beginning, right? That's the beginning of the day, which is sundown to sundown, right? Also, you know, I guess that would take away what, a couple hours if you look at it from that nature, right? Anyways, let's go to another scripture. Let's go to Jubilees 6. Let's go to Jubilees chapter 6. Because we want to point out, I want to make sure that you understand that it is supposed to be 364 days. Even if we go to you know, Kings and we talk about David's you know, when David had the 12 tribes guarding the castle, right, or guarding the king, it was set up, right? If you go back to my lessons when I was talking about the 364 days, it was set up that the 12 tribes would guard the king for 364 days. It was a perfect cycle, right? Every Abib, right, would land on the bib first would land on Wednesday, right, because that was the cycle of the sun. All right, Slock, it was we're going to Jubilees chapter 6. All right, boom, right. Chapter 6, reading verse 32 and 33. It says, "And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days, and these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feast, for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment," right? The commandment was 364 days. It didn't matter if the sun went 365 days for you to return, right? Then they will disturb all of their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order, and they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances, right? And this is why the scriptures goes on to say, "And all the children of Israel will forget and not find the path of the years," right? And will forget the new moons and the seasons. And see, the new moons that they're talking about, they're not talking about the new moons that you can see, but because we have been fast forwarded 6 years roughly, right? And the time today will be year 5,938, right? All the new moons that you were supposed to celebrate on the feast days is like all, you know, those feast days that mark the seasons, right? Those 4 new moons that we're supposed to celebrate like that at the end of the year, those particular celebrations, they're going to be off because you're going to be celebrating in the wrong season. Like everything that we're doing right now is not going to be correct according to the order of the years, because the order of the years have been thrown off, right? And it says because we haven't been going by 364 days. It says, "For I know, and from henceforth will I declare unto thee, that is not of my own devising, that the book of law is written before me on the heavenly tablets. The division of days is ordained, lest they feast and covenant walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, after their error and after their ignorance. For there will be those who assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons, and come in from year to year 10 days too soon." All right. For this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order, and will make an abominable day a day of a testimony, and an unclean day a day of feast day. And they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy. And they will go wrong as to the months and Sabbaths and feasts and jubilees. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death thy children will disturb them, so they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons, and to the seasons, and to the Sabbaths, and to the festivals, and will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. Now, I want to go to a prophecy, all right? Now, you know what? Let me, I want to go to a prophecy real quick. Slovakia. What was that? I think that was in, because I wanted to talk about, you remember that time? Oh, let me see. This will explain why the Most High said he will create a new heaven and earth. Khan, that's right. right? Because everything is out of whack right now, right? It's hard for us to really follow and see what is going on compared to, what's already been destroyed. I want to go to let me see. I think that was let me see. Sluck Israel. I always be doing this right here. Oh man. Somebody give me do me a favor, because I had it. I want to go to the one in Jubilee about we was dealing with how the Most High had pulled it back for Hezekiah 10 days when well, not 10 days, but a whole day out there when they had stopped the moon and the sun from moving in its in its orbit. Let me look this up in the scriptures real quick. Give me a second. Give me a second, Israel. All right, let's go to Joshua 88. Boom. All right. So this could be a situation right here where we see that the Most High has deliberately messed up the rotation of the sun. And I'm gonna get another scripture too I want to bring out in Enoch that also talks about during the end times, during the times that that the rotation of the luminaries is going to be thrown out of whack. Right, so let's get it right here first. Right, and it says and when they were smiting, the day was declining toward evening, and Joshua said in the sight of all the people, "Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon, until the nation shall have revenged itself upon its enemies." And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Joshua, and stood still in the midst of the heavens, and it stood still 6 and 30 moments, and the moon also stood and hastened not to go down a whole day. Right, so if we're already off in the calendar, right, if we already have a 1.24 day extra push, right, it could reason that this was one of the times around 700 BC. I mean, 708 BC, when the luminaries had got thrown out of order. Right, this imagine you're already up fighting, and you're fighting most of the day, right, and you already see that the day is starting to wane. So the Most High made sure that the sun stayed up, right, for a whole day. Not only this, right, but we also have another instance where we have Hezekiah, right, the Most High pushed back the sun 10 degrees on the sundial, right? So that could be the other 0.24 or whatever degrees that we have now that's messing up the heavenly the heavenly bodies in the way that we have it set up right here. All right, so let's go back to the sons of Zadok. Let's go back to this calendar real quick. Salak Israel. Let's go back to this calendar. All right. Okay. So this is what we have today, right? And this would be yesterday, right? This was my mathematical calculations for yesterday, right? So I'm just bringing it on to you. So today will actually be the Sabbath, right? Today will actually be the true Shabbat, which is weird. So let's say, for example, right, as we see, right, the true Enochian date, right? If we take the records of the sons of Zadok, right, the Korean priest woman I was telling you where the stuff was found at, right, and then we decide to we decide to date it back, right? Count forward 365 364 day count moving forward, right, roughly from the time of where the Dead Sea Scrolls was found, right, and that was found in 68 AD, roughly, right, roughly 68 AD. So we can continue on, move the calendar forward 364 day count, perfectly 364 day, without adding the extra 1.24 days, right, that it takes for the sun to complete the circuit. And you know what'll happen? That means that we have lapped the Roman calendar by 6 years, right? Why? Right, as you see right now, is because the Enoch calendar year is shorter than the solar year, right, it moves faster. So in the 1,958 years since the scrolls were hidden, right, the 364-day calendar has pulled ahead by more than 6 years, right? So as you see on the date here that I've had, I wonder, right, this is what also a reason why we're seeing so much prophecy coming these days. The Nile is almost dried up, right? We got all these wars that are starting to happen, right? It's got to be close to the end time, because if you look there, right, it says that the Hebrew year, the true Hebrew year, right, with the 364-day count, will be the year 5,938. Right, what's that? 62 years from the year 6,000, right? From the year creation. I don't know, a lot of prophecies, are bound to happen around that time, right? Because we got another day before the Shabbat happens in the heavens, right? So according to the sons of Zadok in their calendar that they have, which was the last biblical recording of the 364-day calendar, right? The last accurate recording was the Zadok calendar, right? So, right, and knowing that was the last, and knowing that was the last one, that's why I continued it from that particular one to get where we're at today. Now, if somebody else comes up with something different, or you have a more exact breakdown, hey, I'm happy to hear it, right? But this is just what I'm working off of, and what we have today, right? Especially because we have so many things out of order right here, as we read in the scriptures, that we'll see that a lot of our feast days, a lot of the new moons that you're supposed to have, right, on the on these particular days are even off, right? So today would be today would be the 9th month of Chislev, right? The 9th month, right, which would be Chislev, the 7th day, because this is for yesterday, right? And this will be the 4th day of the week, right? Well, 6th day on the Hebrew day, right? And why is why it's like that on the Hebrew gap, why it's like that on the Hebrew days is because you got to realize that, okay, let's go down from the math. Hold on, let me see if I can, because I want you guys to see this math that I had to figure out, right? All right, boom, right? So, right, to get the mathematical number, we're going to see that that if the time overlaps itself, right, especially by 6 years and some change, what does that mean, right? That the days are not going to be the same, because we're going by the 24-hour days, right? Everything's mathematically correct, because back in the scriptures, it says that this was locked. Every 364 days, we would get an equinox. Now, right, this is how we know for a fact that the times and the orders of the heavens are out, because it is for a fact we get an equinox every 365.24 days, right? So what I did, the time gap, right, from 68 AD to 226 AD is not 1,958 years. The solar count, right, the Gregorian Roman system, which follows the slow sun, those years would be 1,958 years, approximately 715,145 days. That's including the leap years, right? So the Enoch year count, as we divide those total days by the divine 364 day cycle, right, which we divide that number 715,145 days divided by 364, it brings us up to the number of what? 1,964.68 years. See, that's different, right? That's a lot faster, right? We're moving ahead of time than what these heathen want us to believe by seeing the slow sun. I mean, like, man, it's amazing, because by not even knowing the true time or the way that it's supposed to be broken down without these scriptures, right, man, you'll be totally lost about what's really going on, right? It says the 364-day calendar has completed 1,964 years while the scrolls were hidden, right? And the Roman calendar has only completed 1,958 years, right? Which means that the true calendar is 6 years, 240 days ahead of the world's perception of time. All right. Like, let's say, for example, right, why the world's lost their days, because like the world's looking for the spring equinox to start the year, right? Like it says in Enoch 72, right? But if you follow Enoch 72, right, this the sun is the luminary that follows a fixed law. So if the sun takes 365.24 days to hit the equinox, but the law of the Most High says that the year is 364 days, and then and then it's supposed to hit the equinox out of that, right? The equinox is no longer the correct marker of time, but the law of the Most High, right? Because the law of the Most High says that what? You have to go by 364 days. It doesn't matter about the 365 days. And see, that's where you get thrown off at. And this is why the sons of Zadok, right, when they wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls and they wrote the, and they wrote what was going on in there, everything was so meticulous. And they were even bad. Man, them boys went even to a 45-year war with the other brothers, right? Because they were trying to teach something different and trying to go off, because they were trying to line everything up with the seasons, right? Trying to go off the moon instead of what was actually going on the 365 days that was coming through from year to year. I mean, 364 days that was coming through from year to year, right? And see, now, what makes it weird, right? What makes it even, hold on, you know what, let me put something up for you guys, right? Let me see something. Slack Israel. Right. Okay. All right. Let me put this up. Right. So, right. If we look at today, right. Right. We'll see how even the days will slide. Right. Like I'm saying, right. Today, even though it's what, Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday on the Gregorian calendar, but if we were to follow the 364 days, going by 24 hours and such and so forth, right, and always kept the that perfect law of time, then that's why today is Monday, right? It's because they're going by, they're going by the 365 days and not even accounting and adding the 1.25 and adding the 1.25 days every year, which is going to automatically throw you off. I mean, like, we're so lost right now compared to what it actually is, because if we were truly following the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Well, dating back from the calendar of Zadok, right? Going off of it'll be a bib one would be Monday, right? But on our calendar, it would be Wednesday, right? The shift from a Wednesday start to a Monday, right? Okay, we got to start in the calculations of the direct result of the marching of the count forward, right? Remember how we had to march the count forward 1.24 days for those thousands of years. Right, from the and we got to ignore the modern sun's slowdown. So if we strictly follow the 364-day Enoch calendar year without ever adding a leap year, right, we're going to be traveling on a faster clock than the rest of the world. Like, again, because I was saying that the Gregorian year is only 365.24 days, right? The world's calendar is going to lag behind us, right? The Enoch calendar and the Enoch count is about 1.24 days every year faster, right? So when the sons of Zadok were in the temple, right, their Abib 1 was a Wednesday, right? However, over the 1,958 years since the Dead Sea Scrolls were hidden in 68 AD to now 2026 AD, those missing 1.24 days per year have accumulated, right? So let's say like the accumulation, and I multiply it times 1.24, that's going to give me 2,432 days of drift, right? So let's say if I got the 364-day calendar, it has lapped the solar system. It has lapped the solar year multiple times. This is why, right, everybody who has the Enoch calendar and they try to go by it and they try to go by the sun, every year you're going to get a drift. Right. This was, I'm not going to lie, to be 100% for with Israel. We knew what this is one of the reasons why I had to pull the calendar off the shelf, because it was going to get too confusing for the Hebrews to follow because of the drift. Right. So the only way to get a correct time is to start from the Zadok. But since the luminaries are so messed up, it's going to be difficult for you to really keep a true day without knowing the without being able to do the math, right? So let's say, for example, right, so the weekday alignment, right, because 2000, what is it? What was the number we came up with? The 64 calendar, 2,432 is not perfectly divisible by 7, right? The Abib of the 364 count, the Abib of the 364 day count is going to eventually slide into a different day of the Gregorian calendar week. And this is why it looks like it's Monday, right? But the scriptures say that our Sabbaths will be off and all kinds of stuff. Like, this is why our Sabbaths are truly off, man. You thinking you're celebrating the Shabbat, but you're really not. You know, I always wondered that when I was reading the scripture. I was like, well, how is it possible for you to get the Shabbat wrong? Well, if you're not going by the heavenly clock, the commandment, right? If you're not going by the commandment of the Lord, doing the 364 days, then everything is off, right? It's weird. Like, I'm going to try to, come up with a because this is it's bothersome, right? Because just like I showed you from before, that the first let me see, right, when I was first doing the mathematics, it's like, well, if the true Hebrew day, if I look on the Hebrew calendar and the true Hebrew day is really the 6th day, right? That was yesterday. That means that today is the Shabbat, right? I mean, man, we are it. I mean, it is totally messed up, right? Anyways, right. And then, like I said, right, the first day of Abib and the Passover, it would actually be January 6th this year, right? Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, the first month of Abib would be January 6th. I mean, July 6th, and the Passover would be July 19th. That right there, when you look at it, that's totally different than anything you see at any of the camps are saying or anything like that. But if you read the scriptures, right, there's nothing that, there's nothing you can do, right? Because the world's view is like, hey, man, they look at the sun and say, hey, the new year must be the spring equinox. And to do this, they add extra days, which causes the Sabbath to move to different dates every year, right? Now, the sons of Zadok, their view, right, was they look to count and say, hey, the year is 364 days, period. And because they've refused to add the slowdown days of the sun, their calendar will move faster, right? Which would go back to Jubilees, right? 637, when it says, for this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order, and they will go wrong as the new moons, the seasons, the Sabbaths, and the feast. Khan, right? Yeah. And see, and this is the thing, right? This is why the scriptures say what it does. It's not for us to fix it, right? With everything out of whack. I mean, we can try and do it to the best of our ability, right? We can try and come up with these things, right, for the best of our ability, right, to try to, to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. But far as us, like, truly be able to, to see how to work this thing, man, it's gonna, it's tough, right? So back to the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? Back to the Dead Sea Scrolls and the perpetual grid of the sons of the Zadok brother. The sons of Zadok, right? They believe, like I was saying, like, we got a 364 day count, and that the 7 weeks were locked together in a perfect eternal grid, right? And because 364 days is exactly divisible by 7, right? 364 days divided by 7 equals what? 52 weeks, right? We get a perfect 52. 5 plus 2 is 7. All these royal numbers, right? So a bib must always land on the same day of the week every single year without exception, right? And then, right, and this is another head buster, right? So if you go and then you study the Dead Sea Scrolls too, you also see that the calendar that they, the calendar that they went by, they started the day on, they started the week, or Slakia, they started the year on Wednesday, right? Because the sun was created Wednesday, right? If you say that, even though the first day of the week was Sunday, that has nothing to do with the creation and the rotation of the sun. So the years, right? So the yearly rotation of the sun was calculated by the creation of the sun. So that would be the first, that would be the first gate that the sun would go into during the creation time, right? And that would be, 364 days of that. Even though we always kept the holy Shabbat will be on the 7th day. So let's say, for example, let me see. I should have did I come up with a calendar somewhere? I think it's on the 11th would be, and these days also, right, the way they fell, once we kept the feast days, it would keep us from overlapping Shabbats too, right? The way I was, after I got done researching all of it, I was like, wow, man, this will also keep us from, overlapping Shabbats on the feast days, right? Which would a lot of times what would happen if you would start the year on the first day of the week, like Sunday, right? If you would start a bib like on Sunday, like I had a calendar before I really, dug deep into this thing, right? So I say this to say, right, I wanted to bring this whole thing out just to say, for us to truly understand what we have, for us to like truly keep a calendar of the Most High. Like, this is the closest probably that we can come up with right now, but to understand every exact date, man, you're gonna have, our times are gonna have to be way different. It's gonna look crazy. Like I'm supposed to be celebrating the Shabbat on a Wednesday. All right, today is the Shabbat. What? How does that make sense, right? When it's not really Wednesday. Right, man. We done moved all these years ahead of time. I mean, it's really, it's really a mind-boggling when you really think about it. All right, let me bring out Enoch. All right, I'm gonna bring out Enoch. I really do think, man, we're close to the end times, Israel. We're close to the end times. Year 5,938. So 62 years left until year 6,000. Could be the coming of Hamashiach. We're probably gonna see the trumpet soon. All kinds of stuff. So it's like what I was saying. I'm going to Enoch, then I. What else? All right, here it is, right here. It says, oh, Slaka, y'all can't see that, can you? Slaka Israel. You can see, I can see that. All right. So here, Enoch 79, it says, "In all things have I revealed to thee that thou seest the sun, the moon, and those which conduct the stars of heaven, which cause all their operations, seasons, and arrivals to return. In the days of sinners, the years shall be shortened." Well, it seems to be longer now, so we'll see, And it says, "Their seed shall be backward in their prolific soil, and everything." That's lucky, right? I'm thinking. And it says, "Their seed shall be backwards in their prolific soil, and everything done on earth shall be subverted and disappear in its season. The rain shall be restrained, and heaven shall stand still. In those days, the fruits of the earth shall be late and not flourish in their season. And in their season, the fruits of the trees shall be withholden." Right? I don't know, man. Actually, man, I mean, it could be some of that stuff that we, dealing with that stuff today, especially how they're forcing the foods to grow with all these, chemicals and stuff like that they're doing. And everything is definitely turned backwards, right? Their seeds should be turned back. Matter of fact, we don't even have any seeds, right? We don't even have seeds in the fruit that we have right now, right? Their seeds should be turned backwards in their prolific soil, and everything done on the earth shall be subverted and disappear in the season, right? The rain shall be restrained, and the heavens shall stand still. So we're talking about, famine here too, all right? In those days, the fruits of the earth shall be late and not flourish in their season, and in their season, the fruits of the trees shall be withholden, right? The moon shall change its laws and not be seen in its proper period, but in those days shall heaven be seen. Right? So I wonder, it's weird because, sometimes we see the moon in the daytime. I wonder if that's part of it. I wonder if that even happened ever, right? Back in the days when the luminaries were in their correct orbit, moving 364 days at a particular time. Right. You know what too, right? These these heathen, they're always saying that the universe is getting larger too, right? It's not because, but the reason why they say that is because they're measuring the distances between the constellations, like the stars between the constellations. So that would also mean that in some type of way that there is some type of slight movement with the rotation of the luminaries, right? It's not constant. Right, the moon shall change its laws and not be seen in its proper period, but in those days shall heaven be seen. And the barrenness shall take place in the borders of the great chariots in the west heaven, shall shine more when illuminating by the orders of light, when many chiefs among the stars of authority shall err, perverting their ways and works. Those shall not appear in their season, who command them, and all the classes of the stars shall be shut up against sinners. The thoughts of those who dwell on the earth shall transgress with them, and they shall pervert it in all, and they shall be perverted in all their ways. They shall transgress and think themselves gods, while evil shall be multiplied among them. Punishment shall come among them, so that all of them shall be destroyed. Now, that's a little bit of everything that we got going on today. Right? That's a little bit of everything that we got going on today. Put this back up here. Lock here. I think it was this one. All right. So, when I go back to the study, so when we go back to studying this, right, we got to understand that the reason why everything does not look the same from the times of old is because the times of old, the sons of Zadok, they were very careful, right, with their writing down, and they had a 364-day calendar. Now today, if we were to count forward from the time that the Dead Sea Scrolls were written, like where I was saying 68 AD, and ignoring the extra 1.24 days, right, we have lapped the Gregorian calendar 6 years and some change, right? 6 years, well, almost 7 years. So imagine yourselves almost 7 years older than what you really are. That's your true age, right? That's the true age of the earth, and then what we got going on. I don't know, man. I don't know if this was really could give you any kind of inspiration, right? Or any kind of hope, just to know that we as a people are more confused than ever, right? And that even the holy days that the brothers are actually trying to do out here in the streets, right? The camps or anything like that, man, they're doing themselves a disservice by even trying to celebrate them, because you're celebrating holy days on days that are unclean. I mean, it's truly mind-boggling, man, when you really think about it, how bad we're all, how bad we're off as a people. I shouldn't, I pray every day, that the Most High, gives me revelations and things like that. Sometimes, like revelations like this are like revelations I would rather not have. I would rather, live in ignorance and be happy with what I was doing. You know what I mean? Because, man, I mean, like when you really look at this stuff and you see it now, you're like, oh man, I don't really want to, I really don't want to feel like I'm already lost more than I was before. You know what I'm saying? Especially seeing how, now we got to drift in the years. You know what I'm saying? The sun is not doing what it's supposed to. It used to be doing the 364 days, but now so now it does the 365.2 days, right? And that was the reason why Julius Caesar had moved up the calendar and thought to change times and laws, right? Because when he moved up the calendar, even in those days, but I think they were going by like a 355-day law or something, or some old crazy stuff like that. But the reason why they moved up the times was in order to catch up with the seasons, make the months match with the seasons, right? That's what they wanted at that particular time. But as we already seen, even from then, when they had made January the very first day of the year, right, we see that even since those days, we're already off again, right? Because what? January is supposed to be oh, no, right? Oh yeah, Slovakia, right? Because that's how they switched it up. But then if you see the names of the months, like October means 8, right? November, Nov means 9. December, Deki means 10, right? September, 7, it means 7th month, right? They actually tell you what's the true month that you're really in, right? Or I should say true time of the year. Man, I don't know, right? It's just weird, Israel. Every year it's supposed to be the exact same thing. Every Shabbat's supposed to be the same. Every feast day is supposed to be the same. Everything's supposed to be the same. But now, because everything is so out of whack and out of order, because the past, our forefathers couldn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments, man, we've been plunged into darkness. I don't know, sort of disheartening. It's sort of, disheartening sometimes to think about this stuff. But geez, imagine that, right? I mean, it moves so much that 1.24 days every year, and that's going to constitute as a whole day that you'll end up seeing that elapse so that the days, that's scary, right? That's really scary to really think about that. That man, right now you're not even have the right day in hand. Whatever day that you're celebrating right now that you think you're on, hey, that you think is Wednesday, but it's not really Wednesday, right? It's really it's really Friday, right? Well, today says, like, this is yesterday's calculation. So if we fast forward to today's calculation, right, the day of the week will be the fourth day of the week on the heathen calendar, right, which means it will be a Tuesday. But on the Most High's calendar, it will be the seventh day of the week. It will be a Saturday. Right, and that's keeping directly the count that the Zadok brothers had in the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's continuing. That's the strict 100% continuation. So that means not a single Hebrew here, right? Not one single Hebrew that I know of are keeping any of the correct feast days. We're all lost, just like the scripture said. Like, man, right? The Most High, it's not a joke, right? It is not a joke, Israel. I mean, it's literally written in the scriptures, for our learning, that we saw, in the future, that the Most High said that all of a sudden that our people will be lost. Like, we want to know which way is left, which way is right. We didn't know we don't know what's going on. Like, damn, we can't even get the feast days right. We can't get the feast days. We don't know which days are the Shabbats. And then what does the scripture say, right? Then it says, let's go to Jubilees chapter 6 one more time. Let's read that one more time. All right, hold up, Salakia. Let me take this off the screen. Jubilees chapter 6 one more time, right? Let's read this one more time, and after that, I'm gonna close out, because it truly, it's mind-boggling the way how these scriptures can predict the future so far. And then when you really sit down and study the scriptures and have a look-see and see what's going on, you realize that, dang, there's nothing that you can do about it, right? Because if we were right, if everybody was keeping that, what I'm saying, let's say, for example, I came up with a calendar and it was right? That would go against what the prophecy said. Like Brother Danny was saying, it's not for us to fix it. We just out here. We got to ask for grace every time. This is why it talks about, when you praying and you saying the Lord's Prayer, right? And you ask them to be forgiven of your sins. Man, you don't live, man. People thinking they out here living perfect, but how can you live perfect when you don't even know what day it is? And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days. And these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feats, for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. For if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order. And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances. And all the children of Israel will forget. It says all the children of Israel will forget and not find the path of years, and forget the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths, and will go wrong as to all the orders of the years. Right? The scriptures just say a few brothers and sisters will figure it out. It said, and all the children of Israel will forget and will not find the path of the years, and will forget the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths, and they will go wrong as to all the order of the years. For I know, and henceforth will I declare to thee, that it's not of my own devising. For the book lies but written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast, the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, after their error and after their ignorance. For there will be those who assuredly make observations of the moon. That's the camps right now, like IUIC and other, all the camps. Actually, they say that the first month, right, the first month of the year starts on a new moon. Where's that in the scriptures? Right? It's amazing how the scriptures, and then who does this? Our people, right? The true children of God. And for those who will surely make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon, right? For this reason, right, the years will become upon them, but they will disturb the order and make an abominable day of testimony, an unclean day of feast day, so forth and so on, right? Yeah. It's a shame, Israel. Well, get your study on, right? Try to figure out, possibly the best thing I can do is maybe, put out a calendar based on the Zadok, the sons of Zadok, and you can choose to follow it if you want, because I can't really guarantee myself it'll be 100%. You know what I'm saying? Especially how we have the drifting of the days and things of this nature. But maybe so we can maybe come close to it, or maybe get lucky, or who knows. But like I said, the scriptures say that we'll all forget. We'll all forget the days. I mean, come on, brother, that's tough, right? That's tough, especially when you really look at and you break it down in scriptures. Like it's off. It's off. If the scriptures, and then you see, and then you read it in the scriptures also in the Old Testament, when you see that it's a proof, 100% proof that it's 364 days, right? Compared to, man, we see that in the Old Testament with the kings, right? When they had the King's Guard, it was set up for the 12 tribes of Israel for the 52 weeks, right? For the 12 months, right? For each day of the month, 91 days. Right, 91 days. It's 91 days a quarter, right? That's how you get 364. So, but that's how it was set up for the King's Guard. So we know for a fact that at one point in time on this earth, that the equinox happened 364 days, every 364 days. But now it's no longer now. It's not the same anymore. The earth has gone old. Right, the sun has begun to slow down in its rotation to the point now we're taking 365 days, 0.24. Like I said, I'll try to use the resources I have, try to wreck my brain, and maybe come out with just the regular dates, and maybe we can, see what we can come up with, with a maybe, with the close that we can. But right now, man, we're totally off, especially if today, like the heathens tell you is Wednesday, right? But going by the Most High's calendar, hey man, today's really the Shabbat. Imagine how many of us out there, you lighten up your menorahs on the wrong day. You not eating, you know what I'm saying? Hey, that includes me. That includes me too, right? I don't know. I'm just, I'm in a, I just wanted to bring this. I don't know. But it's just on my heart just to bring it to you guys, and, just to let y'all know, the really situation we in. I don't know, man. Math is a simple thing, right? And the numbers don't lie. Math is a simple thing, and the numbers do not lie. All right, Israel. Hey, I thank y'all, right? And I thank y'all for joining me this afternoon. I hope I was clear and concise in this lesson. I hope y'all got the mathematics down and understands, and you guys understand why it is what it is. Here, I'll leave it up again for y'all to, copy or whatever, right? So we can see what's going on with the drift, why it's different, right? And then why, no matter what do we do, even if you start today and you keep, right? That's why you get the drift, right? In the calendar. Right, you can see it today. That's the reason why you get the drift. And you guys were following the calendar on the Enoch calendar that Brother Daniel and I had put out a while back, the years ago. You would easily be able to see the drift, but that's why, right? The drift was because the sun is out of order, right? And the luminaries is out of order. And it doesn't matter the drift, right? And over a period of time, like since we've seen over 2,000 years, right, we've had a massive jump, right? We've had a massive jump. 6 years, right? We've lapped the Gregorian calendar almost 7 years. All right, Israel. Appreciate you. I love each and every one of you brothers and sisters out there. And as always, right, I pray that you guys keep the commandments, stay faithful to the Most High God, treat your brother like you love him, right? Love your brother like you love yourself. Don't be a false witness. Don't be a backbiter, spread rumors, right? Try to be a stand-up brother or sister, right? Every single minute or second of your life, because we don't know when it's going to be in. We don't know when it's going to be over with. All right, Israel. Hey, shalom and stay strong.